Hello, Tracy here with another scrapbooking layout process video using the Scraptastic Kit Club Ain't No Sunshine kit, which was the kit from November. I pulled out the December kit. I wasn't able to finish off the November kit before my December kit came, and then I was excited about Christmas, so the last two videos on my channel have been using the December kit, which is called All I Want for Christmas Is You. But now I wanted, after I got two out of the way for Christmas scrapbooking layouts, I decided to go back to my November layout. So what you see me doing, my November kit, that is, sorry. What you see me doing here, and I hope I don't lose my voice has been in and out for the past 3 weeks, so sorry about that. But what you see me doing here is really just refamiliarizing myself with the contents of this kit, because it's been 3 weeks since I've used it, and I kind of was forgetting what the theme was and what different kinds of elements and die cuts and papers and stuff were in the kit. So this morning I'm going to be scrapbooking that. I have two picked out for this kit, but I'm going to be scrapbooking that one of my daughter and I shopping. We were actually, our whole family went to the mall, all 6 of us, and we all had gift cards of various types and sizes to use, and so we decided to get some shopping done while the Boxing Day sales were happening. And that's just my new process video layout ingredients form. It's basically the same one. I tweaked it a little bit and printed it at half the size. Essential scrapbooking supplies here: peanut M&Ms. It was 5 a.m. when I did this layout, and I was really hungry, but I didn't want to make myself breakfast, so I just had a very unhealthy snack while I scrapbooked. So this is a picture of my daughter and I at the mall. We kind of split up. The two teenagers went their own way, and then Scott took Sophie to do some things, and I took Olivia to do some things, so that's why it's just me and Olivia in this picture. And I'm going to be scrapbooking. I'll tell you a little bit about what this picture is about when I come to the journaling, but I'm going to be picking some fairly intense colors for this photo, and I specifically chose this photo for this kit because I knew there were these really bright reddish pink colors in the kit and lots of yellows as well. And if you see our shopping bags, there's hits of very bright yellow and very bright red. I think I was wearing red or something. Anyhow, then it was a colorful photo anyways, and then I did put it through Instagram, and the filter that I used was one of the ones that really intensifies the color. I can't remember the name of the filter that I used, but it really just kind of made all the saturation a lot higher and the contrast a little bit higher, so my hair looks, especially dark, and it's high contrast. I don't need to explain what that means. You guys know. Anyhow, you see me just using my ruler to tear off different pieces of paper here. And I've got a couple going vertically and a couple going horizontally. And now I'm going to tear this really long strip. And I'm really just I wasn't really sold on this idea of using this floral as a long horizontal strip across my layout. So I just kind of tore it, and I wasn't too careful. You'll see that it's not very even. One side is quite a bit thicker than the other side, but it didn't really matter because I'm going to trim it up later. I knew that this doesn't usually happen, but usually I kind of root through my stash feeling like, oh, this layout needs something, but I'm not sure what. And so I root through my stash. But in this case, I remembered that I had a very bright yellow doily, and I thought this is the perfect layout to use it on. So I just grabbed my doilies and fished it out, and it happens to be exactly the perfect shape. Or exactly the perfect size. So I did notice when I trimmed up that floral strip, I noticed that the little extra piece that I had looked really great on the back side, that really bold, it's a chevron, but it looks like a bold black and white stripe. And when you cut a little strip of it like that. And so I decided to cut a second little strip because I'll put one on the top and one on the bottom. And now I'm just writing down some of my papers, which really helps me with the narration. So That floral piece is from my mind's eye. The collection is called My Story, and almost all of the papers are from My Story. I'll tell you the ones that are not. So this feather one is from the Scraptastic Kit Club, and this triangle one is also from the Scraptastic Kit Club. This one is from Authentique, and all of the other ones are from the My Mind's Eye My Story collection. So all those florals and that stripe, which is really just the back side of the floral. And even the background paper is from My Story. So I'm taking a picture of how I have these layers arranged so that I don't forget when I take all this apart. So that was sort of like, I think of my scrapbooking in phases, and I don't do this on purpose. I've done so many layouts over the years, and because I do process videos, it makes me think a little bit more about what my process is, and I seem to have different phases. So I have the sort of quickly laying things out, cutting my paper into the general sizes that I want, and coming up with my basic overall design. And that doesn't get glued down. It's just kind of really rough and fast, and it's what you saw up until I took the picture. Then I usually take a picture, and then I go about taking everything apart, trimming things down if they need to be trimmed a little bit more, and usually outlining. And here I'm just going to remove this manufacturer's strip. I love that red foil paper with the hearts on it, with the foil hearts. And I really did not expect to use it as a background paper. I thought I would use it as a layer. And but I just felt I don't usually use such a bright or dark color. Even I do use pattern papers as my backgrounds for the most part, but it's usually a more subtle pattern. This is quite a bold pattern. But as I mentioned, it's a fairly bold photo, and I have fairly bold layers to go along with it, and so it sort of works. I think it works anyways. And one thing that makes it work is that really bright piece of paper that's on the very top right now, this one that I'm gluing down right now, that reddish pinkish chevron paper. What I like to do when I use a really unexpected background paper, I like to bring the exact same color into my layers in some place. It just kind of ties it together and makes it look a little bit less unexpected and random. So that's just a tip for using an unusual background paper, or like a bold or a bright colored background paper. So there I go, just kind of putting it back together again. And one thing that I was just pointing out, I think I pointed to all those corners. And yeah, I've talked lately about how I like to vary the corners on my layers. That's one of the things that I do. One thing that I have going on here that I don't usually like is I have some orphan corners. You see that gray paper sticking out behind the two pattern papers, the one that has feathers on it, but you can't see the feathers because they're covered. I have some orphan corners going on there, which I don't typically like, but I didn't really notice it when I was scrapbooking, so I didn't fix it. So it is what it is. They can't all be perfect. None of them are really perfect, but you know what I mean. So I'm popping up this horizontal strip with the floral, and I really like how that sort of tops off this photo. I like how there's a long horizontal paper on the very bottom and then a long horizontal strip on the very top, and everything else is kind of sandwiched in between. So I did position that strip, and I'm just going to place my title here on wax paper. I'm going to shift it over and add a hashtag because we did Instagram this. So I like to put a hashtag when it's something that we Instagrammed in the moment sometimes. If I have a hashtag, which I think I do. Yep. Anyhow, with that little floral strip a few minutes ago when I placed it so that it covered one of the busiest corners. There were just lots and lots and lots of corners all together there in all different places. And I usually do like that look, but it was just a little bit overboard. So I made sure that I placed that strip so that it covered that. And I also wanted a tiny strip of the coral colored paper running just below my photo so that I didn't want the floral strip to go to overlap my photo. See how there's just a tiny little strip of paper showing from underneath the photo? That's what I wanted. So I just wrote some of my supplies down so that I kept on top of it. And this sticker is perfect. I love, love, love this sticker. It's from the My Mind's Eye, My Story stickers that came in the kit. So far, everything that's on this layout is from the kit except for the yellow doily. And I'm going to pop that up. Typically, I would suggest that you do your journaling before you put the pop dots on, because it is easier to journal on a flat surface than a bumpy surface. But I'm not really pressing very hard. I'll read you my journaling. It says 2015 was the year the girls spent most of their gift cards on clothes rather than toys. That's a real shift for us, because usually this year they actually got a Visa gift card, which was very exciting for them to have a real Visa. They also got their own bank accounts earlier this year, so they were shopping with their own debit card. They had not spent their allowance in months and months and months. And so between birthdays and their allowance every month, they do chores every week, they get allowances. They had quite a little stash of money saved up. And then they got a couple of different gift cards and stuff for Christmas from various relatives. So they had a really fun time doing kind of like grown-up shopping. They went to grown-up stores too. They didn't just go to, like usually we go to the Children's Place in Old Navy, but this time they went to Hollister and Aeropostale. And I was like, wow, I can't believe my kids wear grown-up sized clothes. They wear small and extra small in those stores. So anyhow, here I am just grabbing some embellishments that I think are going to coordinate with this layout. And you see me here, I'm going to fiddle with this idea of putting some ribbons hanging from that hexagon. And so I only had one of the yellow ribbons, so I just cut it in half and put the same fishtail bottom on the top half, and then it becomes two. And I'm going to go ahead and stick these on without using the hexagon as a reference point for how thin or how much I should overlap them. Here I actually lost the second one. I couldn't find it. I turned off the video and I did find it. And so this is a mistake that I'm making. I'm not using the hexagon as a reference point for putting these stickers together. One is a sticker and one is a die cut. They're all from the My Story collection from My Mind's Eye. And here they're way too fat. And so I'm going to move them over a little bit, and that's better width-wise, but you'll see that it's just too long now. Like that back one is hanging down too long. It's just, I'm not happy with it. It's going to end up, being too long. So I just picked it up and moved it. And now I'm going to use my tiny attacher to staple it just for design. It was already stuck on with my ATG. And I'm going to outline the hexagon because I did outline the other ribbons, so that'll just make it all look good together. And then just for a little bit of, it's like a lot of pattern paper all together, or not pattern paper, but it's all like cardstock. So just to break it up a little bit, I put a brad on there. It introduced a different texture. So now I have this gold border thing. It's like a banner, I guess. Or I don't know what you call those things. Maybe banners. I don't know. My mind isn't thinking right at this hour of the morning. Anyhow, I'm going to layer that kind of under where that hexagon and the flags that are attached to it will go. But because of the pop dots that attach that floral strip of paper to the layout, I can't shove it in quite as far as I want, and it's covering up too much of that really pretty triangle pattern paper with the yellow and pink. And so I just keep taking off a little bit more and a little bit more until it will go up there in the space that I want it to go. And I'm going to put that flare badge that says together alongside of the embellishment that says me and you. So it kind of says me and you together. And I'm going to place both the hexagon and the flare badge such that the flare badge is overlapping one of those gold doilies that is on that little banner shape that I shoved up underneath of the floral strip. And now I'm thinking about using these glasses. My next layout is going to be about reading, so I'm going to hang on to the glasses just for the next one. But I felt like something needed to be in this area right here. So I found these 2 die cut roses, and I don't typically put a whole lot of flowery things on my layouts, but I thought that these looked really nice. I wanted this layout to have kind of like a fashion type of, I don't know, not really fashion, but I don't know. I wanted it to kind of remind me of clothing. So that's why I picked kind of like that floral pattern. I have the butterflies to, again, signify development. So my kids are growing up. We're shopping together at the same stores. Although, I mean, I don't buy many of my clothes at the same stores as them, but I could shop at those stores if I wanted to. And I do sometimes. So I am one of those women who actually I don't shop often enough. I know some women shop a lot and plenty. I tend to wear my clothes until they're very, very, very old and not very stylish anymore. And then I finally go out and buy new clothes. So yeah, I don't necessarily shop at the same shops as my daughters. Although maybe I should be a little bit more fashionable than I am. I don't know. So I stapled those butterflies, and at the last minute I did a little change with the orientation to that yellow one on the top. I wanted the butterflies to be in 3 different places for that idea of the visual triangle. I'm just putting some pop dots in here to add some lift to some of the parts of my layout that might flatten out once it's in my scrapbook. And I did at the last minute make one of my butterflies point down. I usually make all my butterflies point in the same general location, in the same general area. Oh, the other thing that I wanted to, the same general direction I was trying to say there, I wanted to show you that when I'm placing a pattern, like my cluster of papers onto my background, I want to leave a tiny bit of the pattern showing. So I could have put that larger piece of like my main layers and the main part of the layout. I could have put it anywhere on that heart background paper, but see how I left a little tiny ridge of hearts showing, peeking out the bottom? That just adds a little bit of interest. And if I had put it so that the hearts were completely covered, it would look too lined up or too, I don't know. I like to interrupt patterns whenever possible. So here are the photos. Thanks so much for having a look at this layout, and I hope you have a really great scrappy week.